Welcome to the Outliers Inn, produced by the Operational Excellence Society and sponsored by Zonatech Consulting Group International, with your hosts, Joseph Paris and David Schneider.
Well, hey there, everybody. This is Mule, joined by JP here at the Outliers Inn. Welcome for another wonderful hour of wasting your time talking about the ridiculous stuff of life. And our host, or my co-host, JP Paris, is with us here. How you doing, Joe?
Well, none the worse for the wear there, Mule. Thanks for asking. I've been in the States now almost a month. I leave to go back to Germany on Monday. And while I was in the States, I got called to go to Florida for a week. So it extended my trip by a week. But when I packed, I have this big duffel because I was going to be here for 3 weeks, but it's filled with like winter coats, flannel shirts, heavy pants, because Florida was not on my itinerary. And then it got added, and I've been melting here. I'm going to go out today, in fact, and find a place that sells shorts and a Hawaiian shirt or something like that to get into the mood, because tomorrow's going to be day off. What about you? What have you been up to?
Well, I've been, working my butt off with lots of projects and working away on the van. But the most exciting part of my week this week was I got the jab yesterday.
Awesomeness. I got mine about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
My first Pfizer.
And when do you pick up your second Pfizer?
Well, it's supposed to be the day before Easter. April 1st, I think, April Fool's, but I'm going to be back in Germany. So I'll have to pick up my second jab when I come back to the States, sometime. It looks like mid-late April. So, we'll get that second one in. Not that it holds much weight in Germany, but, whatever, and of course there's only a 95% efficacy, so there's always that 5% outlier.
Yeah, that outlier, and being an outlier here at the Outliers Inn, you could fall into that 5%.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So how was your experience with the jab?
It was simple. That's the easiest way to describe it. On Wednesday, I got an email from Kaiser, who's our healthcare provider, and it said, you have an appointment. And I was like, I didn't make an appointment. And so I clicked on the button and it says, you have here's your appointment card for your COVID-19 immunization. Click here to set your appointment. Okay. So I clicked. They had times the next day, but they were all in the afternoon, and I didn't want to have to drive from Manassas all the way down to Falls Church in the afternoon. Yeah. That's not a fun trip. So I chose the next morning and took a leisurely drive into Falls Church from out by Dulles Airport. And it was not even 20 minutes.
Awesome.
The whole thing,
Yeah. They had this MASH unit for me. I call it a MASH unit. They had these gigantic tents in a parking lot, and they had the National Guard there to facilitate. And then, it was very, it was one piece pull. That was for sure. One piece flow. That's for sure.
But this was just done at one of their healthcare offices that they had set up to run people through. And so the only people, they did have some other services at that office, but almost everything was set up for immunization. It looked like that they were clicking through probably a person a minute. That's what it felt like as going through the line. Right. It was just ting to ting to ting to ting. Yeah. But I got up this morning and I had a little headache and I was feeling a little crappy, but after a couple of cups of tea, I'm feeling much better now. So
nice.
And things are good. But yeah, it was a simple experience.
Yeah.
Did you activate the chip yet?
No, I have not activated the chip, but the chip gets implanted, through the testing. It's at the end of that swab. Yeah. It's funny. The amazing stuff. There's a a story about a little company up in Maine that was one of the 2 manufacturers in the whole world that made these swabs with the long stick, and it had a certain flocked material, polyester material at the end, which is just perfect for picking up viruses, deep inside your cranium. So when it was discovered that these guys were the only ones in the US that made these, they all of a sudden had the military and the government knocking on their door going, we want to order 200 million of these. And these guys came back and said no. And the reason why they said no, at first they said, oh yes, and then they came back and said no. Well, it's owned by 2 cousins, and these cousins have been at war with each other for the past 20 years.
Oh.
And they fight all the time. It's the 3rd generation of this family-owned business. And so first generation, the founder always starves, but puts it together. He takes tons of risks, hangs it all out, and builds this successful business. Or he has a lot of failures along the way and finally builds a successful business. Second generation is always a little bit more conservative because they don't want to lose dad's legacy, and they got a good thing going. Third generation has no idea how hard it was, and so they sometimes will wreck the company. And that was what's going on here. The government finally got, there was an admiral that went to go visit these 2 brothers or these 2 cousins, and they had to sit in the same room with each other. Nobody had seen them do that in a decade. And he basically told them, it's your civic duty. And that's what finally won them over, but they're still fighting.
Crazy,
Even though,
crazy.
And they've gone from, the 2 little plants they have in this tiny little town in northern Maine to opening up 5 buildings in northern Maine and 1 in Tennessee.
Awesome.
They've it's 20x, 25x their company, the size of their company.
That one order?
Yes. And then the
Awesome.
additional orders that came in, because they're still the number 1 dog in the hunt.
Right.
They had to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I share, one other thing that I wanted to have when I got to the States was an eye exam. I had to look at my old pictures to see when I had my last eye exam. You see when I changed my glasses, and it was 7 years ago. All right. So it's been a long time. And so I got an eye exam here, and that was no big deal. But I went to a company called Vision Express. Okay.
Mhm.
Now express to me means pretty quick, right? It's not even very quick. And I'm there and I'm looking at the frames and blah, blah, blah after my exam. And I pick out a couple of frames that I'm interested in. And because of course I don't have any vision insurance, I have to, buy them full retail, but they have a deal, buy one, get one. So I'm looking at these frames, and they say that these 2 pairs of glasses are going to be $950.
Oh, whoa.
Okay, thank you. That's exactly what I did. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? And then I said, I need them in 2 weeks' time because I'm going back to Germany. It's like, well, geez, it normally takes 3 weeks or so. I could put a rush on it, but I won't be able to guarantee that it'll get to you in time. And I'm like, 3 weeks seems like an excessive amount of time, especially for a company who has the word express in it.
Vision Express.
Yeah, express. Where's the express part? So of course I didn't buy the glasses because of those 2 reasons. It seemed excessive, and they're going to be late. So there's a friend of mine on Facebook, and he, for whatever reason, makes a signature out of his glasses. All right. He's got like, I don't even know how many pairs, each one a different color. All right. And he's, and they're very obvious on his face, and it's just part of his brand, if you will. So I called him up and I said, listen, where do you get your glasses? And he says he buys them online.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I'm not going to mention the company's name because they're not sponsoring us, right? So, I went online, and it's really cool experience. The camera on your computer or on your phone will take pictures of your face, front, side views, and et cetera. You have to scan your face basically, and then you could try on the frames on your face. And I thought that was pretty cool. And they got them to me in 10 days, 2 pairs
Cool.
in 10 days. And both pairs together cost me $325.
Yeah.
Okay. And in fact, the other pair, now I got one pair for podcasts. It's the one I'm wearing right now, brand spanking new for podcasts. And it's not bifocals and everything else, but it's, just for podcasts. The other ones, of course, are bifocals, and they got tinted lenses and everything else. And that was like, these ones on my face cost $85, and the other ones were the rest. It's
Yeah.
like $85. Are you kidding me? And the other company wanted $950. It's a racket. So if you need glasses, let me know, and I'll point you in the right direction.
When I was in college decades ago, back in the dark ages, it was an engineering school. So, in the engineering department, if you were having fun in the engineering department, you had to have your safety glasses. And so prescription safety glasses was $50. And so that's how I bought my glasses. And I found out who the company was that they ordered them from.
Right.
And that's who I ordered glasses from for almost a decade, until they got bought out or went out of business or something like that. And the last 2 pairs of glasses that I've bought have come from a safety glasses company online.
Yeah.
They aren't as cool as taking a picture of your face and showing you what the frames look on you, but I'm going to want to see that tech.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Highly recommended. So let me know. So what do you think? You want to go around the horn here and invite some folks here?
I was hearing I think we should. I was hearing some conversation between, somebody that I haven't met before. And this guy named Doug is recently retired. And, I wanted to hear a little bit about, what he's doing to entertain himself. So, hey, Doug, why don't you come on over and pull up a beer?
Sure. Thanks. I would love to. So I retired after an almost 40-year career, working mostly in continuous improvement and mostly in the food industry for a lot of Fortune companies. And I retired in November, and I'm loving it so far. One thing I realized today, when you move someplace new or you have a big change in your life, you have to go through the 4 seasons, really, 1 year to really figure things out. And just today, being outside on a beautiful day, doing some spring yard work in no hurry whatsoever, it was a real awakening. I told my wife what I wanted to get done this morning, and I went outside, and after about 20 minutes, I came in and told her, and I said, you know what, I'm going to back off on all that. I got lots and lots of time. And so, it's just a great learning experience. And I don't miss the work at all. In fact, my previous employer contacted me because they wanted me to work in April and May. And I thought about it a lot, and we got into the discussions, and I ended up turning it down. Now, one of the reasons is it was really lousy work. Last year I was involved. We have, the company I worked for has a lot of factories and a lot of third-party warehouses and a lot of contract manufacturers. And it was to do a virtual inventory. They wanted me to assist in the virtual inventory. And, inventory usually isn't a lot of fun anyway. And doing it virtually is really awful. So last year when I was involved, I owned a big portion of it. And, I was overseeing and responsible for a big portion of it. So we had conference calls with the warehouse or the factory with, our third-party auditors on all the calls, looking over your shoulder. So these people that got their MBA last month from a very prestigious university, trying to find anything they can that you're doing wrong. And so we had virtual inventory. So we had a warm-up meeting to test technology, et cetera. Well, first an introduction, then another Zoom call to test technology and make sure everybody's on the same page. We have to validate the address, so they have to walk outside, and oh my gosh, it was just crazy. And So I did that last year, and it was pretty bad. And that's what they wanted me to be involved in again this year, because the places that I was just responsible for went really well. I mean, I'm a senior person doing, work like that, so it should go well. But when things happen, I have a son at Seton Hall University, and I went to pick him up for a weekend, and we're driving home, and I said, yeah, they want me to go back to work. And he said, what are you going to be doing? And I told him, he said, I remember when you did that last year, didn't it suck? So, I remember I was on a call with a warehouse in California, 10 o'clock on a Friday night. And it was brutal. We were supposed to be done hours before. And then one of the people from the third party auditing company said, oh, nope, that's wrong. You got to start all over. And when I remembered that, that's why I turned it down, right? I don't want to be, I don't want to, if that happened as I'm retired, if they said you have to start over, it would have been, hey, listen, I'm having trouble with the technology. I can't hear you anymore. I just wouldn't want to do it. But anyway, I don't miss the work. One thing I do miss is the interaction with people instead of in this COVID world. And in fact, when I talked to Joe, I don't know, probably a couple months ago now, he had some suggestions about how to get involved. And one of the things I did was I made a presentation to Apex, an Apex chapter, every presentation to 78 folks remotely. It was very well received. A lot of them were students, and I offered to connect on LinkedIn, and if they had any questions about things, to reach out. And I had many people connect, probably 5 or 7 that said they wanted to work with me on some things, and 2 that I'm actively working with now. One was a student. I had a mock interview with him last week for an interview he had for an internship on Tuesday. Then I helped him write the thank you letter and a thank you email, and I couldn't believe how bad it was, the version he sent me. I just, anyway, it was half a page, and it was 2 sentences, 1 paragraph.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what they're teaching in school these days. Well, actually, I do, but let's not go there.
No.
That's a whole different podcast.
It is. It is.
But anyway, and then another gentleman was just acquired. He works for a pharma company, and he was just acquired. He's a seasoned person, but he's really struggling with being acquired, and he's asking for my advice on some things. And I've been acquired 4 times, and I've been through it all, and I survived every time. Sometimes I was hanging on for dear life, but I survived every time. And so I'm working with him, so it's working out great.
Awesome. That's great. That's great. So you're keeping yourself busy and making it so that your wife's life isn't made miserable. Because we had another gentleman on the call previously who was also retired, and he made a colossal mistake. He started optimizing his wife's kitchen.
Oh,
okay. And
yes.
yeah, that was, you remember? Oh man, that,
Oh, God.
it's a rookie mistake, but he learned quickly.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. I hope you didn't say I did this so you can have my GD dinner on time, ready
No,
on time.
So why don't we call on Don?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, thanks. How you doing, Don?
Oh, not too bad.
Yeah.
What's new out there? I got to ask, Dave, where did you get the name Mule?
The story behind it? Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
You tell.
There's a lot of story behind it. Years and years and years ago, I was a newspaper photographer. And when I was in high school, there was a TV show that had Ed Asner in it. I don't remember what the name of the show was, but the photographer was this long-haired, draggy dude that they called Animal because he looked like an animal. And some people started calling me Animal, and I really didn't appreciate the nickname. And when I went to college, somehow or another, the nickname didn't go away. I was hoping that when I left high school, went to college, it would get stripped off, but no, that stayed. But I let some folks know that I didn't like it. And there was this girl from the fraternity house that would say it. I went to college first trip through in Arkansas, and she would go, Annie Mule. And it got cut down to Mule. Now, I do have some some traits that are kind of mule-like. I am tenacious, fairly sure-footed. I've been known to, be able to continue to walk a straight line, even though I'm blind drunk.
What an attribute.
That's an attribute to have. My tenacity, sometimes I go, it's like a terrier tenacity, and they go, no, that's just pure stubbornness. You just want, once you've made your mind up, that's it. And so that's kind of where the nickname came from.
Now, is it mules or donkeys that can't reproduce? I forget.
It's
which one.
mules.
The
It's
mules.
mules. So, but I
Uh,
have reproduced. I got two
that you
two
think.
lovely daughters.
That you
so
think, right?
That's for another podcast.
Another one. We got two in the queue.
nah,
so-
yeah, well,
Yeah, so I'm thinking here, I really hate, I have this nice glass of wine. I'm sitting here in Florida. I've only been here a few, days, and I've only had moments outside, but I've darkened right up. But, it really bothers me if I'm, drinking alone, because that, usually means you have a problem.
Hang on a second.
but you don't know what's here.
Well, let me hop on a plane. Hold on a
See,
second.
You're going to hop on a plane? and join me,
Create
Tom?
extraordinary. I'm having something
No.
something extraordinary right now.
Awesome. So a little coffee and a little, oh my,
No, it might have
that?
looked
What's
like
that?
tea. It might have looked like tea.
oh my gosh, look. Salute. Look who joined me. Oh, he's fading in and out.
Oh, he fades out. He
Yeah.
faded out.
Yeah, there he
So,
is. Yeah, there he is. There, he's in, he's out, he's faded
He's in, he's
faded
out. He's in,
Yeah,
he's out.
Yeah, Don joined me down here for a couple of days on a project. We got a little hot down here and needed an extra set of eyes or two, and so he's joined me. And the client is nice enough to have an extra house to loan us, so it's sort of like turned into Animal House for the weekend.
There you go. There you go.
So, awesome.
But well, that's cool. And I think Esther's somewhere in, I think
Yeah.
she's
I'll bring you in a second, Don.
Yeah.
You can go upstairs. You could listen.
Hi there.
Hey, Esther.
How are you doing? So I understand that you are going to have a party then, JP, after this.
Well, I don't know
with
about
some
a
people.
party, but certainly I'll tell you, Esther, this has been a very, very tiring project. We start about 8 o'clock every morning, and then
Wow.
after dinners and stuff like that, ending at 9 o'clock every night. And there's a lot of intensity going on, but it's been a really good project so far. It looks like it's going to continue on.
It's been
Great
productive.
people. Yeah, it's been very productive, and great bunch of people just needing some extra guidance. So far so good. And
So how do you kind of like relax when you're working so hard? I mean, it has to be some kind of balance. How do you do that?
Great
Hold
question.
the glass of
Great
wine up, Joe.
What's that? Yeah. The key, Esther, and you don't know this the first week when you go in. Like, this is the first week I've been here, and you don't really know where you're getting into. And mostly it comes down to the people. You know what I mean? If the people are good and the company is good and they want to do good, they're struggling, they're stressed, but at the core, people are open, communicative, looking for help.
Yeah.
The long days get shorter.
Right.
And we've had a couple of dinners in the evening where we get to sort of debrief, casually, speak. We went to this thing called Top Golf last night.
Mhm.
I don't know if you know what that is, Esther
No.
or Doug, but basically it's like, you think about a 3-story building that's sort of in a U shape, but not completely a U shape, just an arc, just a slight arc.
A C.
Yeah, a C, not even a C. You know what I mean? Just like a little, like the Amazon smiley face. Okay.
Okay.
Right. The logo on the smiley face. And it's 3 stories tall, and it's open, and you hit golf balls, and you can have different types of games that you could play. But they're
And they bring food and drink.
They bring food and
Nice.
drink, and we're able to, play these games. It's real golf balls, and it shows you the trajectory of your ball because it's got this technology in the ball that measures where it's going, and it's a lot of fun. So
A
you're
lot
able
of fun,
to,
yeah.
yeah. So you're able to, relax.
So
We're
you have a lot
talking-
of laugh, a lot of
Yeah.
laughing, teamwork, I
Yep,
guess, also.
yeah,
That's
and
beautiful.
the conversations are a lot more casual. You know what I mean? They're not like so
Right.
forensic, and the creativity could go. So it's been good. It's been good.
When you said U-shaped, I thought you were going to liken it to paintball, only with golf clubs and golf balls.
No. That's why I was trying to get
Ouch.
the shift, like
Yeah.
a representation. It was not so easy at first, but yeah, it's a lot of, it's been a lot of fun. I go back on Monday, and I designed that so the flight from U.S. to Europe is a little bit less crowded. The flight in the United States is packed. Okay, like forget this keeping open the middle seat. That's gone.
Yep,
now
that
it's,
stopped.
Yeah, that stopped, and now it's completely as full as it can be. But it also afforded me Sunday as a day off, and Don and I will take a drive up to the beach to get some vitamin C, spelled SEA, and just take a
You mean D?
mellow day. No, vitamin C, SEA, spelled SEA, not the letter C, but
Oh, I understand now.
yeah,
The
yeah,
C,
vitamin
right.
C.
I
Yeah,
love it. Yes,
yeah.
very nice.
So what
I
about
have
you? What
the
have you been doing?
sea. I have the sea right next to here, and I never managed to go. I mean, it's like, the days they go by, as you said, very fast when you are doing what you love. And I'm just like, I'm just kind of creating my own life and my own type of, a new career and creating projects. And it's funny because I came back to Sweden, and when I was living here, I was working a lot in Denmark. So I had a very different life as now, and I was hardly in my flat, and now I am all the time in my flat. So it's very
Right.
surreal. And now it's all the time I'm working from home, also because of COVID and because of everybody I'm working with is all over the world. I'm working with people from the US, Russia, Norway, Qatar, anywhere. So then, of course, it's a very international team and it's very virtual, which is also very kind of strange from working, as you are saying, Joseph or Mule, with people you're working with, which I also, I really like to work close to people.
Yeah.
That's for me the best.
Well,
but right now I'm working like this.
Yeah. It's really great to get out in the field, and turn a wrench and get some FaceTime with people instead of being cooped up in the house. But you said something I want to circle back to here. You said you started a new career or a new job or a new profession or something like that. What's new?
Well, what's new is like I'm creating a network with somehow like-minded people who we're working for creating more awareness about leaders we are here to kind of like to bring some kind of awareness to the work we're doing in the world. And it's not just like we're working and we are just doing some projects, but we are actually thinking of what's next, how can my work help other people, and how can we create a legacy for the better of humanity, for understanding that the human has to go back into nature, that technology is coming to us, but we should not get more distracted by it, and we should not get far away from nature, but we should embrace nature, become part of nature, and technology has to help us to go back into our roots. And in some ways, yeah.
No, go on.
No, in some ways, it's like the more we connect to ourselves, the more we understand that, everything that we are creating the whole day has to be going into a circle, like a circle economy of understanding that we cannot live in just like a line type of movement of taking and transforming and creating something else and delivering it for somebody else to God knows what that's going to happen, that everything has to go into a circle, like the earth is moving into phases and rotating and transforming, and everything goes back to the earth. You're born and then you go back into nature. Everything else that we do has to be part of this. Of course, it's not really, I'm not talking about ecology. This is really like more transcendental way of thinking of, we are all part of the same. And so a little bit like, who are you? What are you here to do? And whatever you're creating, what is the effect that it has on others? So, because we were talking before about, becoming, now you become a retired, and then what's next? A lot of people, when they go into retirement, they might enjoy it, but what's next? People think, oh, retirement is the end. No, retirement is not the end. Retirement is the beginning of something new for your life, because you can create a new life. And if you have taken care of your body, you can have another 20, 30, 40, who knows, many more years. And that's another lifetime, or even more. I don't see any limits. If we put limits into our life, then our life has got limits. But so there is a lot that I think that the new human can create now with the new beginning of technologies coming to us.
Yeah,
and so there are a lot of possibilities now coming to us as a human race.
It's interesting what you're saying about that, Esther, because there is this thought process of how you create knowledge, how knowledge is created. You don't create knowledge just by reading it. You have to have the experience of it, but you also have to have interaction with other people.
Right.
To validate what you've learned. And then also when you have problems and challenges that you don't see the solution to, often that solution comes from when you have a conversation with somebody that you trust them on that subject, on that idea at that moment. There's a Japanese philosopher, Nonaka, who talks about it, says you enter into ba, a place, and that human element, that cycle of, you have a problem, you think about it, you do some research, you have conversations with people, you learn from their experience, you gain experience, and then it just cycles upon itself. If you think about that same loop, it's very similar to what you and your group is focusing on. Is how do we return back to society? How do we return back to nature? It's, what is my legacy? What am I leaving behind?
Indeed. That's beautiful. And it's such a powerful question to all of us, not just to the ones that are way close to retirement or anything. Like, what is my legacy right now? If I think about, the people that I am around with, it's not just my nephew, my niece. No, I don't have children. So, the next generations, but what is my legacy to the people around me right now? I don't have to be close to dying. I don't have to be close to being old, or how society defines as old. For me, there is no old people. There is just old-fashioned minds, And so, people, for example, now you are in your 50s and you're in your 60s. That's old. No, I'm sorry. That was maybe 100 years ago. We're not old now. It's like we have still so much more to give to society. And we all have to think in that new mind frame, going to the future instead of looking behind, as we are kind of learning from God knows where we learn all this, thinking of, when we're 60, we're old. No, I'm working with people in this network who are 85, like they're from the US, and they have really a lot of drive to want to give to society. And that is really like when you've been working so hard, developing yourself, which is very fulfilling. And of course, helping your family and growing a family. What's next? You go bigger, go to the whole world. Your legacy can go to the whole world. And I think this Outliers Inn could be, it's a way of legacy. Anyone in the world can listen to this.
Well, remember, the internet is forever.
Yes.
So, you know,
You
once
know,
you're
that
out there, you're out there.
Esther, that was a great thing for me to hear as a recent retiree, and especially with this mentoring that I'm trying to do, or I'm not trying, I am doing it, but I really
Good.
want it to
That's what I was
blossom.
gonna say. Well done. Well done for saying that. Very good.
But you know what? One of the things that I'm struggling with is some of the people. So I don't know. A lot of people connected. Several said they wanted to work with me on career advice and things like that. And I think a lot of these kids, because they're students, they haven't been out much, so they're a little bit reluctant. And I've been very open and I think affable when I've talked to people and things like that. But I see different groups, and one of the things let's say I get so busy with this that I my resources are limited or something. I
Mm.
don't want to necessarily mentor country club kids, if I can say it that way, right? If
Yeah,
I want to mentor the kids
sure.
that don't have somebody in their family or profession or group of friends that's been through a 40-year professional career that can give them advice. I don't want to mentor some country club kid that's got,
Mm.
surrounded by
Yeah.
people that can give them advice. I'd rather focus on people that can really use it. How do I encourage them, or how do I, and this is a question for everybody, as I move forward with this, how do I try to get the people that don't otherwise have anybody to talk to open up and reach out to me? And I met a kid a few years ago through high school athletics that was about to embark on a college career in engineering, and I really encouraged him to reach out to me, and he never did, which I get, but I just
Yeah.
I want to help the people that need the help the most.
I'll give you a little bit of advice here, Doug, and it comes from, this is now the 4.5 years of mentoring a high school robotics team. And that's what I've been doing. But the other thing that I've done is that I do reach out to colleges and give presentations at the college level every once in a while. I get invited by professors that want to, usually they're accounting professors, and they want to talk about the impacts of supply chain. And I choose secondary, minor schools where the folks that are going to school there, they're going to school there because it's a state school. It's a school that they can afford. And so, start making contacts with those secondary state schools. And there's a number of them there in your area, up there in northern Jersey, but pick some of those and have some conversations with the business school heads. They'll get you, hooked in. That would be my approach.
Yeah, that's great. In fact, that was Joe's advice when I talked to him a couple months ago, and I didn't realize that one of the benefits of going to a state school or a community school is, you're not reaching out to the Ivy League kids.
Exactly.
And even with, so the start was Seton Hall University, which is not a cheap and expensive school. So maybe that's why I'm also getting the feeling that some of these kids could be getting help elsewhere. I want to help the kids that need it the most. And the other thing is, it seems like the kids that could get it elsewhere are the most likely, because of their experience, to reach out to me. So it's kind of like a catch-22.
Yeah.
My experience, and I'm involved in universities and involved in all sorts of mentorship efforts. Everybody has a need. And, you might see these young people early in their careers having this need, but they have to have a want. If you ask them to reach out to you and they don't reach out to you, you can't push it. You know what I mean? Because there's so many people, Doug, that need your help, okay, or could use our help, that we have to figure out and find those people that want to help themselves, because we can't do it for them. And if we give them the path, and they don't, or give them the opportunity, and they don't take it, well then, otherwise you'll be overwhelmed trying to fix things that don't want to be fixed. And,
Right.
It's a little bit of, I don't want to say it's tough love, but I had a young lady that was working for me. This is probably darn near, a decade and a half ago, maybe a longer. Very empathetic person. And she doesn't understand that, and didn't understand that there might be 100 people that could benefit from your help. And if you try to fix that one person that doesn't want your help or is reluctant to take it, then you're actually stealing from the other 99 that you could have helped. And I believe that I'd rather help incrementally the 99 than devote all that energy to the one. And that's just that's my firewall. That's my, call it my gate when it comes to that.
Yeah, that's a really good way to look at it.
I
And
think that
maybe
go
there'll
ahead,
be some
Doug.
word of mouth stuff too. Like if I'm working with certain individuals, maybe they'll talk to some of their peers and the word would spread that way. But no, this is all great advice.
They'll
Yeah,
come
and
to
that's
you. They'll come to
that
you, Doug.
yeah, we'll come to you. Exactly. I agree with you, Mule. And I think that first of all, you put your wish out there with your heart, because it has a lot of magnetic resonance, and if you have a passion, that heart is what you're using with your heart. And so that it comes out there, and then you can talk to people about it like you're doing right now. Already there, you're putting an intention which has got resonance, and you will, by doing this already, you are creating that call. And then, let's see how life plays. But you can also use not just the usual word of mouth, which is the best maybe way, but there is maybe other ways that you can maybe, besides this podcast, you can do a video and you can send it to people in your network, or you can even post it in YouTube. And then, start sharing a little bit who you are and what you want to do, and see what happens. Just play with it without expectations. No expectations.
Go work over your LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
And work that over to reflect now what you want to do, instead of being a nothing more than a resume. Turn it into a statement of what you want to do as a mentor. Right. And then something else I'll give you as experience from the mentoring that I've done is that the mentor never chooses the mentee. It's the other way around. And I think that, we choose who we're going to follow as leaders. Well, people choose who they're going to follow as a mentor, who they're going to turn to as a mentor. And so good mentors are always approachable. They aren't, necessarily super friendly or, but they're knowledgeable, and they show a general interest and care about people when those people ask them for help. And that's, I think, the best secret to give you as you're starting off on this part of your journey is that be approachable and let people come to you, but you need to let them know that you're out there. And LinkedIn is a good way to do it.
Right.
Just a little food for thought too, because I've thought about mentorship, and I thought people that have mentored me and I've mentored others. And I think there's a little bit of a difference between a mentor and a coach. Mm-hmm. A coach is almost like a formal relationship. Whereas a mentor, my best mentors didn't know they were my mentors. And the people that I've mentored only let me know well after the fact that I was one of their mentors. So you just have to, wonder for a second, and reflect maybe on your, each of our individual professional careers. Who were our mentors, and did they actually know it? And who have we mentored, and we didn't know it, and only sometime later they said, you're a great mentor to me. So I think that we have to differentiate a little bit between mentor and coach. For instance, Doug was talking about people that, he puts himself out there and says, hey, I want to, I'm available. I'm an available resource. It's got some experience. Maybe I could, share some of my wisdom with you so you do not have to pay as much to the University of Life as I did. Okay. And that's almost like a formal, transaction. I'm available, and they say, yeah, I'll take you up on that. But I think that's a different dynamic than those people that have a true mentorship relationship. You think about Great Expectations. I don't know how well read everybody in the audience is, but Great Expectations is a book by Charles Dickens, a novel, and they talk about the great benefactor. And the great benefactor to Pip was unknown as to who it was to Pip, who had helped the great benefactor years and years and years earlier. And Pip thought it was somebody entirely different. So, it's very, very interesting, the dynamics of the relationships, whether they're seen or unseen, formal or informal.
Yeah, well said. When I think about it, a lot of times when I'm talking to folks, really what I'm doing is letting them learn from my mistakes or maybe just my observations, which I think is more along the lines of a mentor than a coach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we lost Mule. I'm sure he'll be back. I'm sure.
And I would say that as mentor, you can advise people and tell them your story, but of course you can also mix it with coaching, like questioning.
Of course.
So,
Yeah,
it's
sure.
all interrelated in some ways. I think at the end of the day is, what JP and Mule are doing, and you want to, what's your name again?
Doug.
It's really, to leave that legacy, because then that, it was not just your job, it was something else. You did something else for everybody else. And then we are all benefiting, all of us. When you're doing something for somebody else, you're doing something else also for me.
Right.
So that's really what matters. And
So we're at the conclusion of this week's engagement, and one of the people, a senior VP of sales at the company, as well as director of engineering, they both went out of their way to thank me for my time, but not just my time, but they specifically said how I asked so many questions and just kept on asking the questions and just kept on asking the questions until they started coming up with their own opportunities for improvement. You know what I mean? So, I thought that was a great compliment, because I don't like consultants that come in like, on the white horse and just think they're going to rescue everybody. I believe that everybody at this particular company and in general have their own superpowers that are going to lead them out of the turmoil themselves. And all I am is a guiding light, or somebody that gives them the opportunity to get above, their situation and see it from above, and instead of just seeing it from deep in the weeds. So it was really a great week. I felt really good about it yesterday.
nice.
Yeah, it was cool. So,
Wow.
what do you think, Don? You got anything there, or that one glass of wine put you to sleep?
That one last line put me to sleep.
Yeah.
The last line or the last wine?
Yeah, I think that's the last one. Yeah.
I'm only on my second glass.
Yeah,
And it doesn't even have a cork. It's a screw top.
What's one of these?
Well,
cheap
more and more
white
good wines are coming
here.
that way.
Yeah, those are cheap
Oh,
white.
how gauche.
Well, the white wines don't sit well, so
Yeah, you got to drink them quick. Take the top off, throw it away.
that's it. Did I ever tell you about my uncle Yannick? Yannick comes to visit from Poland. I pick him up at the airport, drive him to the house. He pulls out a bottle of vodka, takes off the top of the cork, throws it away. We won't need that anymore.
Yeah, well, you're
Oh,
missing one. You're missing one point of that. It's a liter bottle.
Yeah. Yeah. Every time Yannick and I get together, I know I'm in trouble. So
I've been exposed to it. He's brutal, and this doesn't include those little plain bottles that he brings along with him and hands them out there.
Right. By the fistful.
Yeah, that's before the big bottle is open.
Yeah,
This is just a warm up. It's like appetizers.
Oh, he's got a well-trained liver.
Yeah, well, there you go. You want to talk about mentorship? It's almost like, this is like, oh my God, how do I keep up with this guy? It's like, we're not worthy. We're not worthy.
No, there's a difference between mentorship and training.
Yes,
Yeah.
coaching.
Coaching,
Yeah,
yeah.
serious difference.
You're all worthless in a week.
So what do you think there, Mule? You want to wrap this up tonight or for
Well,
today?
it sounds like we've had a great conversation today, and thanks again for everybody joining us here at the Outliers Inn. We'll see you on the next episode, and please don't drive like my brother.
Oh, and whatever you do, don't drive like my brother. Cheers.
Cheers.
Salud.
You have been listening to another episode of The Outliers Inn with your hosts, Joseph Paris and David Schneider. This program is produced by the Operational Excellence Society and sponsored by Zonatech Consulting Group International.